Caught on camera. And I'm keeping it.
Oh dear.
Oh, yay.
Okay.
Okay. So, welcome to another Miracle Monday, where Mom and I have, these conversations. So we actually today started to have this conversation before I hit record. Um, and we were contemplating what to talk about today because I'm going through some challenges. It was like, do we talk about that? Anyways, and so we started to have this conversation that wasn't that. And I said, hey, I think that that should be our conversation for today. So, literally, these conversations are the conversations that you and I are having all the time. It's just taking them and sharing them here in the hopes that somebody who listens, needed to hear whatever it is that we share that week. So, hi.
Hi.
I love how that started.
And I,
Especially today. I'm
yeah,
extra grateful for how that started.
good.
Um, so thank you for that. It's kind of like that tap dancing moment that gives me such joy.
Where I
We
had
got-
to stand on the stage.
Yes. That is literally one of my favorite moments of my entire life.
Uh,
Is that I think we've talked about it here before, but I'll just say really quickly. My mom and I were in competitive adult tap and hip hop, and for our tap dance, mom started on stage, like before the music started at the back of the stage, whatever. Anyways, so we were at a competition and we were up next. So mom goes out on the stage and she's standing there and then they decide to like have sort of an intermission break and do all of these announcements and things as mom was standing there awkwardly on the stage. Oh, it was so awesome. We were in the background like woo woo Lynn woo, and it was just so fun. It was so funny.
yeah.
Um,
And and yeah, whatever.
no, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just going to say, and with part of all of that too is like I was the elder of the group,
Yeah,
a very
which is
elder.
why you got to be the star and start on stage.
Yeah.
Anyways, so good. Um, okay, so what we were talking about before we hit record was, I mean, it started with you saying be really grateful for your very thick
Thick,
hair.
thick, 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 thick hair.
Yeah. Um, we then went from that to me sharing um, that at some point along the way, you said to me just once, like it's like one of those moments that's hugely impactful that just changes everything, which was something along the lines. I can't remember, it doesn't really matter specifics, but you said something about because you had had a mastectomy back when I was whatever, a teenager. Um, Something about wishing you hadn't complained about your breasts. Like whatever, the sagging. It was something to do with sagging because I have sagging breasts. And wishing that you had just been grateful for them because then when it got chopped off,
Very
anyways,
elegantly put.
very elegant. When you had a mastectomy, um, and so that moment changed, literally changed. I will tease myself about it, like I will make jokes about it, but honestly, it's one part of my body that even though it is like not what the magazines would show it should be, and definitely long and saggy and all of those things, I never, like that moment that you said that stuck with me. And I never, ever, I just always think I'm grateful. Like I'm grateful that, I have healthy breasts. And I never feel bad. Like you changed me by saying that one thing. Um, so that's what we were talking about before we got on. And what you said, and this is where we'll pick up the conversation, is you said like, about you have a tickle?
Have a tickle. Go
Oh.
ahead. I'll.
Um, you said like that we are kind of taught all the way along. I mean, this is not like newsflash. I know that everybody listening knows this piece. but we are taught like that we should be look a certain way, um, and we don't appreciate aging in the way that we could. I don't know what you said. So with the tickle in your throat, I don't know if you can talk.
I think I'll try.
So what do you think about all that? About, about all of it? Gratitude for our bodies and not, taking for granted the things that we might one day lose, like less hair or breasts or anything really. Those are just examples of how things change.
Well, I think culturally we don't respect aging. So we do like everything you see, maybe not everything, I may be exaggerating, but you look at commercials and things, everything is about how you can stay young,
Yeah.
and doing everything you can to stay looking young.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know really what to say about it other than if you look at other cultures or how we've been, in the past. I mean, there was a time when, as people grew older, they were respected, and, the elders of indigenous, groups were really, yeah, they were honored for their wisdom and their knowledge. And now we just seem to look at what somebody looks like. And it is really challenging when you're surrounded by that, that um, to really be able to be okay with the natural aging process,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know? I mean, and from illness, like things happen to our bodies and we don't look the same as we did. And it isn't easy to accept that, you know? And I don't know if that's because culturally we're supposed to look good all the time. How we look is so important.
Drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. Like, I'm sad for me. I'm sad for you. I'm sad for all of us that feel this tremendous amount of pressure. And even like, it's like we know better. Logically, I know that. I mean, one of the things I think about all the time, as we know, for me, weight has always been like the thing that has me feeling criticizing myself, be like whatever. But I know that when I get to like that last moment or whatever happens where I get to review my life or however that will work, which I don't know, I'll let you know when I get there. I know I'm not going to care about like what I weighed or what I looked like in a bathing suit or in my clothes. Like I just know that I know how superficial and stupid that is and how unimportant it is and how what really matters is your phone ringing or something?
I'm sorry, but Uva's calling me and he's called me now twice. And
Okay.
how everyone worries when I don't answer the
Yes,
telephone.
he forgot that you have Miracle Monday.
Yeah,
Okay.
he did.
So, why don't you I'll just mute you.
I think it's too late.
Oh, okay.
So um, I'm just gonna, no, I'll just leave it. He'll be fine. He'll remember. It's okay.
Are
Sorry
you
about that.
sure?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Certain.
Um, anyways, I know logically that it is unimportant. I mean, you know logically too that it really doesn't matter and who you are and how you treat people and the impact that you have and all of those things are what matter. And even though we know this, we get stuck on it.
Maybe it's an and. Maybe it's not an either or. Maybe it's an and. Like, I don't see anything wrong with wanting to look your best. But my best now and my best 20 years ago, Uva and I were looking at the photos we have on the wall of us from our cruise, and it's just like, wow, we were a pretty good looking couple, weren't we? Do you think anybody'd recognize us? It's like, we're different people now,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so, yeah, it's like,
But what's so crazy is this.
okay,
We never stop changing. Like we
no,
start as an embryo we grow into a baby that grows into a toddler and a kid and a teenager and an adult, and then like we expect that things are going to stay the same, yet literally from the minute we are conceived, we're changing and getting older. Like it's so interesting.
But I think in fairness, we have a culture that is inundated with social media. And I know, again, my age shows up in all of this, but I feel bad for young people because really it's like everywhere you look, it's about how you look and that your life is great and all of those things. And I think that's really, really challenging. I don't think we were faced with that, but slowly, because that's our culture and that's what you see everywhere you look, without remembering that, oh, yeah, they changed that body in the photography, right?
Yeah.
We don't think of those kinds of things. And so we have been brainwashed, and you and I know enough about how the brain works. You
Yeah.
see something or hear something enough times, and you are literally brainwashed. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
If
And
you
that can be
open
with
your,
good things
yes,
or not good things. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But really, the more you see something, it's embedded, and
Yeah.
and then it becomes your truth.
Yeah.
So it's just a different culture. It really, really is. I mean, again, the fact that you and Brad actually care about what I think and say, and my opinion is like, I mean, it truly is an honor. And I don't know that every mother has that.
Well, it's interesting when you say about like other cultures and how you're seen at like the elders are seen as the elder and wise and whatever. I mean, I think I've been like teasing isn't the right word, as you have had birthdays in the last even maybe 10 years and you
Mhm.
didn't want to talk about the number or whatever. And as your daughter, and I get that, and you get to be you and do whatever you want. I always think like you're so amazing and you have so much knowledge and life experience that I think, and it's none of my business, that you should be so proud of who you are and all that you've done, and that you're so incredibly beautiful. I'm going to say for your age, like, but you are so beautiful. And I think that's inspiring. But I guess what I mean is, I think we view you as that elder that in other cultures, um, and we've never even had this conversation, but that's why I want to do these Miracle Mondays, because you have a way of living your life. You have experience that I don't have. You have lived in a world that I didn't get to live in. You've had experiences that I haven't had. You have so much to share, you know, in this life that you've lived. And
Mhm.
so I feel like it is the reason I always want to inspire you to be proud of your age and all of that, is because I see that it is a gift and it's so beautiful.
Well, I think, thank you, by the way. Thank you. And I'm very, very, very grateful. And the thing is, I think that this maybe is a time when it's okay. And looking back, when I was doing all that corporate work, there would be people that,
Yeah.
had they known my age, they wouldn't have paid the same kind of attention to me or to what I taught, right? So nobody knew my age.
Yeah.
And, people were curious and whatever. But the truth is, because of our culture, I wouldn't have been like, maybe now, because it's not like I'm standing in front of corporate
That's right.
organizations
Yeah.
trying to tell them how to communicate and, how to create relationships and all those things.
Yeah.
It's a new world right now. But at that time, again, what I had to offer, everybody wanted what I had to offer. And it would have been colored, I'm positive, if anybody like age didn't matter. That's really maybe more the point. My age didn't matter. It would have mattered to some people had they known.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like people right now. So look at my friend Andy. He can't get a job. He is so smart. He has so much experience. He's amazing. I mean, he's so knowledgeable. And I could just say
Yeah.
incredible things about him. He can't get a job. Well, he has a job, but it's not a great job, as in how he's being treated. But put that aside, and him looking for another job, he can't. He doesn't even get interviews because of his age, you
Yeah.
know, and he's in his 60s. And he's amazing. Any company taking him on would have, just such a benefit.
Yeah.
But literally, he doesn't get an opportunity because of his age, which doesn't make sense again, but that's the culture.
Because you'd think like, how lucky are we to get someone with that much knowledge and that much expertise and that many years of experience in all of that?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so what do you kind of circling back to like um the I'm gonna say I'm so different than you, but anyways, I'm going to say the saggy boobs, the hair, the you being hard on yourself, looking at your hair that's thinning and feeling self-conscious about that. You're self-conscious about or we're self-conscious about losing weight. I'm self-conscious about being too heavy, like all of these things. What, as the wise, wise woman that you are, what, what can we do about it? Like, what are the things that we can do? Like, aging is a gift. Not everybody is so lucky to do it. That's one thing, is like shifting our mindset to really being grateful that we are so lucky that we are getting to age. But, like, what do you think? Again, thinking of the listeners, what do you, as the wise woman you are, think we do to feel better about aging or to be kinder to ourselves or something?
But I think again, everybody's going to get bored listening to, our conversations from the perspective that,
We're brainwashing them. We're brainwashing them to think good things. The
yay,
more they hear it, the more they'll. Anyways, carry on.
they'll think it's their idea and it will become their idea.
That's
But
right.
but the truth is, you interrupted my train of thought,
I'm
and
sorry.
no, that's okay. But nothing's different. It's like we all have a choice. So first of all, we have to decide we want to feel good.
Yeah.
Then we have to know that how we feel comes from inside us, not outside. However, when we have it inside, it will be reflected from outside. So I
I
think
know what you mean, but I'm saying tell me more. Like, because you're going to exude a certain energy, you're going to exude like a vibrancy. Is that what you mean by that?
yeah, and I'm going to be attracted to people that think like that.
Right.
Because
Right.
again, scientifically, we know energy attracts and like energy attracts, and some energy repels. I mean, like I say, scientifically, that's proven.
Yeah.
So the same thing is with energy with people. So if I'm going to have a certain kind of energy, and I'm going to attract that. I'm not going to
Yeah.
attract it by chasing it. I'm going to attract it by being it. So first, again, you have to decide, that you want to be happy. You have to decide that it comes from within. You have to decide that you have control. It doesn't mean that every day you know you have control and you take control and everything's peachy keen every day. But the core within, you can only stay down for so long when you have that mindset. And then something happens inside of you where it's like, okay, enough. What do I need to do? What do I need to say to myself? How can I look at this differently?
So if somebody's being hard on themselves about their physical being because we've been brainwashed into thinking that beauty looks a certain way and that you're only really, you're only beautiful if you look like this. So when I think back to you, on the, and I hope it's okay that I say this, but we can not share it if you don't want to, but like that you're always, whenever we hop on a Zoom before I hit record, your hair for you right now, because it's thinned so much with the medication you're on, you're always like, oh gosh, and fluffing it up and whatever. Um, like, and then what do you do? Because then there's a moment where you do what every human does, what I do. Oh gosh, look at me, I'm pale, whatever. Like we both have our little fun before we shake it, before we switch it. Um, then what do you do? Like, so you do that, and then something changes where you decide to stop doing that every time we get on a Zoom.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
I do. I just decide. What's the point of
Yeah.
feeling like that? And I really don't look at myself a lot. But I do think it's all the inner and I don't think people understand. So then the other thing is too, I don't spend time looking at people on Facebook and on whatever all the other ones are to see how young everyone looks and how I look
Yeah.
and how I
Yeah.
compare the two. I don't do that.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
Yeah.
And quite frankly, even looking at people like I think it's sad. And I said that actually, having said this, years and years and years and years ago, I remember saying I wanted to grow old gracefully.
Yep. I remember that. That's when I worked with you.
And friends
Yep.
of mine, they were younger than me, like a lot younger than me, and they had their eyes, surgery on their eyes to lift their eyes. And, they did all kinds of things. And
Yeah.
it's like, you know, and having said that, I finally decided, ooh, maybe it's time for me to do that. And when I went to go to the people they went to, she didn't do it anymore. So it was like, okay, so I didn't look for anybody else. But, and again, it's only my opinion, but, there's women that are so beautiful. And then all the things that
The-
they put in
yeah.
their body, the fillers and and then it gets to the point where you don't even know. So your lips are
All
small
of a sudden their lips are like this big
because they keep looking small, right?
because it's getting bigger and bigger.
They,
And then when the bigger gets a little bit small, then it feels small. So then they get more.
and you get used to it, right?
Yeah.
You just get
Yeah.
used to it. So is it tempting to think of wanting to do, well, actually, I have to say I've never wanted to do that, but um,
I have had numerous people, you can't see it as much on this, but in my social media you can
yeah,
because I've made a choice not to use filters and just show up as me, even though that makes me self-conscious, but I don't want to try to make myself look better, so I don't use filters, which means this big crevice that I have in the middle of my forehead that Zoom seems to be filtering out, but it's there. Um, and in my social media, you say like I see it front and center in every post that I do. Um, do you know how many people have, without invitation, told me that Botox would fix that for me?
how nice.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah. So all of this stuff is a choice,
Yeah,
but in fairness, it's not going to change unless you stop inputting things that contradict that you're perfect the way you are. You look great. You doesn't mean we can't, do things to look as good as we can.
yeah.
I mean, really,
Color my hair or
right. I do my best. Right
yeah.
now, I'm unfortunately because of medication, I can't do a whole lot. I'm just,
But you're
but
so beautiful. That's what's so sad is you are so
okay, well, maybe I wouldn't
beautiful.
do something, but the
Yeah,
point is I can't.
yeah,
So I don't have to worry
yeah,
about the option, right? Um, but you can't watch all of the things that tell you you are imperfect and that you need to do this to your body or this to your face or this to your hair. You can't watch that and pay attention to it on a regular basis and expect to feel good about yourself the way you are. So again, those are strategies. So
yeah.
we talk about mindset, but within the mindset, there's strategies. It's like go for it. Watch all those things, and how are you going to feel?
Yeah. So it comes back to again noticing noticing what you're thinking and saying to yourself about things that create how you feel. And I mean, and I think replacing it with like for me, I really do often think about when I get to the end, this isn't like, is this really going to matter? It's and the energy that it takes from me when I get down on myself about, say, what I look like in some way, then that vibrancy, that energetic frequency, my energy to do anything that is actually productive and make a difference in the world, or I don't know, even just sit peacefully, like it robs you, right?
Of
Um,
course.
so then just different strategies with how you think and maybe even having just a few things that really remind you. For me, it's like the end of life thing. That is something that for me, when I think of that, it kind of puts things in check. Or when I think of you saying that, like because the breast and the being grateful, not knowing you were going to lose them or lose, is could be anything. Like that's just an example of me criticizing myself for my body and then witnessing you lose so much weight so quickly and kind of thinking, well, it's actually a good thing to have a little bit extra so that if something happens, you have some to lose versus, versus starting super, super thin. And then if you started super, super thin and then you couldn't eat, what would happen? Like just, I don't know, I just play with my
But
mind in
mind
different
games
ways.
that support you. So that's the
100%.
thing. You
Yeah.
can either play mind games that don't support you or mind games that do. So
Yeah.
I've just recently decided this is my perfect weight,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? And that's
You've been striving your whole life and now here you are. Ta-da!
right. So, I mean, honestly, I feel we repeat ourselves over and over, and each situation still requires a similar mindset. It's
But
a
I think
choice.
that's good because it isn't, I'd love for people to know, like overall in listening to this, that it isn't complicated. It's actually just a few very simple things. Is it easy to do those things all the time? The challenge becomes actually doing them and making the decision to do it at the times where you're not feeling great, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
But it isn't complicated, and I like that it's not complicated. It's a few things that we share, that you share over and over again, that help in this situation and that situation. It doesn't really matter what the challenge is. The strategy is the same or very similar.
Yes, I really feel that is the truth. And if we can get that and not criticizing ourselves, regardless of what the situation is,
Yeah.
I could run through many, many things, as you know, that I can't do in the same way that I could have done 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And, but then if I look at it, which I hadn't even thought of it in this way this time, but if I look at 1 year ago, then I'm doing things now that
Yeah.
I couldn't do
Yeah.
1 year ago. So
Yeah. And so you have a choice on which you're going to focus on. All the things you can't do that you could do 2 years ago, or all the things you can do that you couldn't do a year ago.
exactly. And it
Yeah.
just did remind me of one other thing too, is that and I think you probably talk about this in midlife awakening in terms of, you know, doing what you really want to do. And I don't mean not considering other people,
Yeah.
but, being in your heart, but recognizing what you want to do, because I can sit here now, and as you know, I can't really travel anymore at this moment. So I can still dream of
Good catch.
our going together as a family to an all-inclusive and all of that. But point is, I'm not able to travel right now. There's a lot of things I'm not able to do. I can't do a 10-day training, solid like I used to be able to do. Um, I can see clients for a couple of hours. I have a client this afternoon, so 2 hours with this client this afternoon. So I can do bits and pieces, but I can't do all the things that I used to do before. And having said that, I really I all the time think about, well, what would I do right now if I could? And it's like, I've traveled where I want to travel.
Yeah.
I've worked different places in the world because that's what I wanted to do. I've had experiences with you and Brad when you were little that other people wouldn't. Like, I've done consciously things that make me happy. And
Yeah.
so I can honestly say I'm not sitting here yearning. I'm just grateful. Wow. I am not sitting here going, oh, I wish I had gone here, or I wish I had done
Yeah.
that.
Thank goodness you lived your life fully while you
I
had the chance
did
to. Yeah.
in a happy, joyful way,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's the thing too, is you don't want to look back either and wish, a lot of people work so hard and they work for retirement to get some money to be able to do something that, had they done it 20 years before, it would have been like way better. They would have had a way better time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's a big, big thing, that if people can do that and be okay with it. I made choices that other people wouldn't have made. Like when we went to live in Hawaii. I
Yeah.
mean, on an afternoon, I just said to my friend, okay, yeah, Uva and I'll come over there. And we went there and lived there for, I had to come back in 6 months and go back again. But Uva came home from work and I said, we're going to move to Hawaii for a year. And it's like, and it was fantastic, as you know, since you
Yeah.
joined us. So it wasn't irresponsible, but to people from outside, it could look
You
pretty
were crazy.
irresponsible. What's that?
I said you were crazy,
Exactly. Like most
but
people wouldn't
happy, crazy and happy.
really, and I didn't know how I was going to do these things, but they
Yeah.
turned out because they were from my heart.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe that's why.
Yeah.
So I think if we can help people really connect with what they'd really like to do.
Which is my whole mission in midlife awakening for sure
Exactly.
is, because I think like we have different, well, I know we have different chapters of our life,
Yeah.
and in the chapter that I'm in now is a new chapter from the raising kids and, and even focusing so much on building. There's just a different energy level, like a different energy level where now I feel like we really have the opportunity to be really purposeful about how, and really, if we think about it, although I'd have to do the math, but you really started living that way in midlife. Like you did your whole life,
Yes.
but when Brad and
Oh,
I grew up and
not,
moved out, you
yeah.
really, you had that whole identity thing of like,
Yeah.
I should have you on my podcast for Midlife Awakening.
I didn't start doing the working and traveling
Yeah.
until you went off to university.
Yeah. So
You and
like
Brad
that
were
was a
gone.
whole new chapter.
That's right. That's when I
Yeah.
started my business. And that's
Yeah.
when you know, yeah, I mean, that's when my life changed. But up until then, I didn't yearn to work and travel.
Yeah.
I loved what I was doing.
Yeah.
But when you both were gone, then it was like, ooh, I need a new purpose. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know. I feel like I'm really rambling.
No, I think it's perfect. I mean, I think it could be a whole nother conversation. I mean, we kind of went away from
What you look
the
like?
cultural pressure to look a certain way and feeling good now, but I think all of it matters. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, you and I and Brad and like the people in our world, um, I mean, what we do and what we're wanting to inspire other people to do is to, like, if you were to really simplify it, is like to live their best life and be happy and at peace and joyful. Enjoy this thing called life while we're so blessed to be given the opportunity, no matter what life throws your way. So, sucking your joy away from looking at yourself in the mirror and being mean to yourself is not aligned with living your best life and being happy and vibrant and all of those things, right? It does the opposite. So,
Do we just have to learn how to reframe everything to something that makes us feel good?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time.
Yes, you will.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye.